All right, this is part two to my previous reading. It cut off by accident, so I took some time here to rest. And so this is definitely a continuation follow-up to the previous reading that I recorded today. You'll recognize the background here, and some of the cards are still here, and then I pulled some new ones, some of my own, and some from, again, a reading from previous readings earlier this week. Sorry. So give me just a second here to reconnect. Very powerful energy tonight. Archangel Raphael's coming forward here, so let's welcome him here into our energy fields here to support us. Archangel Metatron as well. So I'm going to place that Metatronic cube of protection of light around this reading, because I do feel, because of all the karmic blocks that we've been working on removing, it does kick up, kind of like you kick up sand in the water initially at shore, like it becomes murky a bit. We don't want that to be kind of dumped in our fields. So, it is difficult for karmics once we do create that release and finally do let go. It's not, it doesn't feel good, it's difficult for them usually. So I don't want any of their energy to be projected onto us. So we are gently just going to clear and remove here a little bit of the debris from all of the readings that I've channeled for us earlier today and in the last few days, mostly, they're saying. So I'm hearing very clearly we're doing a wonderful job, the ones that are working hard at releasing and dealing with the karma and removing the karmic blocks. And the only way to do that is you've learned the lesson. All right. It's just that for some of us, there are ties to past lives, and that's, that's the trajectory there. We have to kind of travel back in those timelines to do that release. And sometimes, we need support to do that. So I didn't really understand why I was being guided to YouTube. So maybe this is one of the reasons to assist, because I can hold space. Oftentimes when I'm guided to help somebody through my spiritual work, it's to really hold space, because I don't heal anybody. Nobody heals anybody. We are responsible for ourselves and truly are the ones that heal ourselves. But we co-create and we work together always with a healing partner is what I call it. So it's always an honor for me to support people on their journeys. And so this must be one of the reasons why now I'm extending this to YouTube, in order to reach the people that I wouldn't otherwise be able to reach here in my small community where I live here in Canada. So it's an honor. So I trust that everyone that's going to be guided to my channel is in support and resonates with messages and the energy. And for those who may not, I just ask that you leave, and I ask that their energy be removed. If by any chance somebody comes across my channel and really has an adverse reaction, there's usually a really good reason for that. Energies are not in resonance all the time. We're not, I vibrate at a very high frequency, so sometimes my light is extremely triggering to people who would otherwise be at a different stage in their journey. And I never wish anybody ill or anything like that. My request for that energy to be removed is simply for it not to create an interference or a block to us, to myself, to the people that I'm working with, in order to work together as a collective, which when we do that, it's a lot more powerful to really step into our new timelines and achieve success in doing that. Okay. And there are countering forces that would obviously try to come in as well. We're all responsible, when we do sometimes as carriers bring in energy like that. So you have to really understand a mind, body, spirit, and how energy works, and how, shadowy energy operates as well, because the light and the shadow really operates everywhere. It's in all things. And the healthier we are, the more in balance the shadow and the light is. So not everybody is at that same level. That's all I'm trying to say. So I really don't welcome anything outside of what I just shared in terms of a balance. And this doesn't mean that I expect only people to connect here that are in perfect balance. We can never be in perfect balance. It's just people that are more in the light, okay? And don't get me wrong, I have spent a lot of time on my journey learning about my own shadow, doing ego work, shadow death, ego death. I was not, at that time to connect in this way, because I have to be responsible and I have to put myself first always, because if I'm not strong, I won't be able to hold space in the way that I need to support other people. So I know all about that type of thing, and on my journey I've been guided to help people who in the spirit realm and also in the physical realm that were really trapped in that shadowy type of energy, or dealing with energies like that outside of their realm that would otherwise be causing issues. So I've learned a lot, even though I didn't think that's something that I would ever have to do. I didn't want to do it initially when I was being shown, what this energy looked like and felt like. And then I was being taught, and I was taught by my guides how to deal with that. And it wasn't easy. It was very scary at first, but I've come a long way, and I'm not scared anymore because I truly do understand what it all means. And even the darkest ones that I've come across, I just hold space with love always and shine my light and always feel safe, and have been successful in supporting people in coming out of some of these really dark places. And I've seen also as follow-ups where these energies will come back to me in meditation and show me that they've progressed in their journeys and are doing a lot better. So it's just really been tremendous. And I don't know why I was guided to share all that, but hopefully that helps people out there to know that understand your light is bright. It's the highest frequency that exists in the universe. Nothing can hurt you, okay, first and foremost. So just know that. And if ever you feel threatened, just shine your light from a heart space and call in extra help if you need to, but just know that you're always safe first and foremost. And just to shine that light, be bright, and always come from a place of love and light, because that's what we need, and that's the highest frequency that exists, and you'll be okay. So let's get back on track. So part 2 here. So earlier we were talking about our masculines, right? That Knight of Pentacles, that's very strong right now, and who's solid, extremely solid, and who was making better choices and better decisions and being able to protect himself. This high card here where it says, I'm protecting you. In order to be able to protect the union. And the divine, these are expectations for divine masculine energies who take on those roles in these unions. And it's important for them to understand that. So I think that they've made tremendous progress in this area, and will be in a much stronger position to be able to safeguard themselves in our relationship. And therefore, once communication can occur, and if these counterparts choose to reconcile, then when they blend their families, because I do believe most of us have children, those family units will be safeguarded in a much better way compared to before. Because in my case, and in many other cases for people who are going to resonate with my readings, you would have been together at one point, and then had to kind of go your own way to do all of the work that's been required to get to reconcile back, to come back together in this way, in this energy, to then really become the example of what true twin flame divine love union looks like in the physical. We've achieved that success in the spiritual realm, but it's important, and God wanted us to come here in the physical to really demonstrate and ground the energy here, because we are creating a new earth and a higher dimension. And all that means is a higher evolved way of coexisting, creating, co-creating, and it's from a love space. Because divine twin flame love is like no other. The vibration and the frequency is so powerful that it is blasting away all these old templates that really aren't functional anymore. So it's important to bring a lot of old sacred knowledge back, and a lot of us are here to do that. So it's not an easy journey, but certainly an honorable one, and one that I take very serious. And I'm an honor to be of service, and it's a gift, and I thank God every day. I show myself gratitude, and I extend that gratitude to my twin flame counterpart, and to my family, to the people that are in my life that support me, because I know that for me, I've changed drastically with my awakening. So it's difficult for people, because many people aren't awake, or become awake, and aren't meant to become awakened at this level, because I believe only certain people are chosen to do that, because you have to be strong enough to really be able to channel the energy in a really healthy way, and then translate that energy out into the world in a healthy, balanced way, and not from a material point of view. I've transcended that. And, previous recordings on my channel, you'll see that I've talked about that we are now operating from that higher place of that higher level of consciousness, and not from a material point of view. I don't do this for material gain. I'm not judging those who have to or have. That's different. That's I'm not placing judgment. I'm just sharing that for me, my mission work through my career is extremely important as well. And, the divine doesn't want me to have to veer away from that, because that is just as important as this work that I do here spiritually, with my energy healing and the guidance and the spiritual teachings that I provide when I sit with somebody and provide that guidance and channel the information that that person needs in that moment to do the work that they need to do to become happier and healthier and stronger as well. Because we're all working together here to improve ourselves, our families, in our world and our environment that we live in. So we're doing really, really well. So we're doing a good job. So I really love how these colors are blending together here. So they want me to just kind of review my cards, my light language cards, and then we're going to reconnect to the other cards here to really pull in some more information and some new messages here that our counterparts are really needing and wanting us to know. So wishes fulfilled. So we've already manifested what we want, and this is to come back into union. And that's what I'm channeling. If you are not in resonance with that, that's okay. But for me, and for a lot of other people, this is what we want. And it's okay to want that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Not every twin that's here at this time is wanting that same thing, and that's okay. That's okay. It's very dangerous to compare yourself to anyone else. You have to trust and follow your own guidance, okay? But I'm being guided to speak of it this way. There's a reason for that, all right? Because there's a lot of conflicting stuff out there, and a lot of energies that would otherwise want people to kind of veer off this path, and because it's not something that they choose or want at that time in their life, well, that's fine. But to influence other people to try and make it be what it is for them, that's not the way of it, all right? That's not, in my opinion, whenever we try to control or guide people away from their own, what would be true to them, I would say, dismiss that information. And if you don't resonate with it, it's okay. You're not going to resonate with everyone. And it's important for you to trust your own intuition and guidance, and never seek information outside of yourself. It's to be used as teaching, support, guidance, but always meditate on it after if it's something from outside of yourself, and make sure that it's in line with whatever it is that you want to do and what your goals are. And if it is in line, take it. And if it's not, release it. It's okay. Or if you're not ready to embark on that journey at that time, no problem. Maybe you'll be ready at a later point in time. Okay. Right now, in the past, I would do my readings and I was guided to only leave them there for very short periods of time and remove them. Now I'm being guided to leave them at this point in time. So for now, people will have access to them, but until I receive guidance to remove them, I won't. So it must be needed. So let's get back on track. Strength and courage. So we are channeling and pulling energy in a way that is very powerful, and it's assisting us to heal at very deep levels. And just know that the divine is very proud of you. It takes a lot of strength and courage to stand in your light like this, to talk about some of these things. And twin flame unions and twin flame love is very complex. It's very, very ancient. It's very old. And twins carry very prescribed vibrations and frequencies in order to do very prescribed tasks and work. It's not the same for everybody. And I don't believe everyone's a twin. I don't believe in that. I believe that for the people that are in my wave and the realm that I come from and the energy that I channel, I've received information in the past that we are kind of assigned these missions in different parts of the world because we carry an energy and can bestow and send out those frequencies in the areas that we live in. So it's called grid work, and we hold space within that grid. All right. And it's very important. So we affect everything that's around us. And so does everyone else. And it doesn't mean that, say, that twin in that grid is any more important than anyone else in that grid. No, it's prescribed. It's like an equation. It's like a math equation. So everything is calculated, works together, and to be in the flow, you need to be able to stay on track and really be honoring what that original blueprint looks like. And it was designed that way for a reason. So a lot of us have struggled and haven't really in the past, we kind of went off course and we struggled and got lost. So a lot of us are back on track and finally overcoming some very difficult lessons, patterns, and breaking through a lot of that ego and shadow work that we were struggling and being able to achieve in past lives. And it is my belief that when you come into contact with your twin in a conscious way like this, where you choose to do this work together, usually at this stage, you've overcome a lot in past lives, but you've had to learn a lot, and it's mastery, and it's in order to ascend up, like I said, and share this knowledge now in that newer part of the world that we're creating with a higher level of consciousness. So it's working, and we're having success now, which is wonderful because so many of us are pulling together and working together to achieve success, because we do need to do that. There was a period of time where we needed to isolate and be alone, but I'm sensing that that's going to be a thing of the past, and that hermit energy, that death energy, like we've worked so hard to come out of that, and this knight is ready. Let me tell you. He's serious, and there's no time to waste, and he's really, really excited about coming forward here to speak. So that Eight of Wands came back up here, and I'm happy to see that. And this Moss Agate, this Green Agate, I love that. And the Star, look how beautiful that card is. And he's overcome a lot of challenges to be able to speak his truth finally, and he's said it. There's a lot that he's said in the last week, 2 weeks, mostly in the last couple days, And my video from yesterday will speak to a very nasty conversation that would have been had with a specific karmic in order to finally put his foot down to say, no more of this. I'm done. They're gone, but like not happy, you know? That's the energy I was feeling earlier. And that's probably why I had to really assert myself here in this video and really speak it, because there's power in words and language, you know, and sometimes, you know, I'm told to be quiet, but other times I do have to speak. So, congratulations to all those who were brave enough to stand up to people that they would have otherwise had difficulties in the past standing up to. Sometimes, you know, we've had to repeat ourselves with these people multiple times because they didn't get the message the first time. And these are tests. And in order for the divine to open the door to allow this masculine to come and do what is required, they have to pass tests leading up to that. And us as well. Because what happens on one side happens on the other side. Okay, it's never just one person struggling, you know, because twins really do mirror each other. And so the design really is to ensure that there's safety while doing this work. And when we incarnate, you know, we're always connected to our counterpart, because otherwise it wouldn't be safe. It's very dangerous. And when I hear about like twins doing card cuttings and all kinds of things to disconnect from their twins, because like I worry about that. Significant imbalances in the field, and I hear stuff like that. And it's very, very, I don't think it's safe to do that. I think it creates more issues. But I understand why people feel that way, because the pain is deep and it hurts and it's painful and it's hard. But you have to tap into that heart space even more when you're feeling that way, to really learn why you're feeling the way you're feeling and why you're struggling, and letting that person go and accepting that whatever you're faced with is happening for a reason, and it's to keep everybody safe, you know? So, you really have to trust and find your way back home to God, and have faith in that spiritual connection, because that's really where it started, and it's where we go back home to, and it's never gone. So you're never separated, you know, never. And there's no judgment. I'm just saying that I've seen things come up that were not good with people who I think thought they were doing a good thing by doing that. And really, I think it made things worse. And I've, you know, my initial part of my journey, I was on YouTube a lot because I didn't have access to anyone or anything else that really, where I could learn about twins and the journey. And I heard all sorts of stories. And I was grateful that at least for my twin and I, that despite everything that happened and has happened in our lives, we never once in the physical ever said anything to each other that would lead to a separation of like a forever removal of each other in each other's lives. Like at no point did he ever say to me, I never want to talk to you again. Or I never said that to him either. However, we did agree to kind of go off on our own separate ways and do our own thing, but always kind of kept that door open. And there was always respect there. And not that it was perfect, and we've said hurtful things to each other, but there was never like that final severance. Like there's just always love there. I just, and respect and integrity and comfort, and knowing that the other one will always be there in some way, even if sometimes your counterpart wasn't able to be there for you or show up in a way that you thought they should. You know, spiritually, I'm going to tell you right now, my masculine has always been there and protected me and has always fought for me. And even in, I call it void, you know, a void space or void energy is when you don't feel them so much. That's because you're entering a new phase and a very deep time of clearing and healing. And oftentimes the soul has traveled somewhere, in my opinion, to do very important work. All right, to make room. Because in order to make room for the new things to come in, you have to release the old. and things that are kind of bogging the fields down and blocking the flow of energy, the flow of movement, that needs to be fixed and addressed. And it's a lot to break down. It's a lot of work to do. So never despair, because for me, I've gone through all these stages, and that void space eventually gets sorted out, and then you'll feel them come back, and then you'll see them come back into your life, into the physical, even if it's just like you run into them and you have a quick chat at the grocery store. That's huge. It's huge, because it's very, very hard for twins to see each other when we're doing this work. It's not easy, because we are mirrors. Okay, we can only handle so much. And I think I was talking about that earlier with this energy here, where it's very prescribed, so we can only have downloads come in at a very prescribed rate, a certain amount of information. Can't have everything downloaded all at once. For me, if I would have been shown, because I often would kind of have conversations with the divine and say, like, how come, I can't be shown ahead of time? How come it doesn't come with a book? Like, I should know, I should have the steps, because I'm very type A. I like to be organized. And I believe that if I would have been shown, I would have ran for the hills. I would have said, I'm not doing this, or I can't do this. This is impossible. Especially the shadow stuff. Like, if I would have been shown ahead of time that I would be tasked with doing some of the things that I had to do, I would have never gone to that specific home to help that person, knowing what was festering in there. And a lot of the work I do is in the ancestral grounds. Like, the grounds are oftentimes, a lot of wounds are trapped in the ground, because, like, for example, the house that I live in now on this property, very long time ago, there was no home here. And a lot of things happened on this ground, this earth, before this home was built. And I'm so open and connected to source, and so to everything, that I can feel at a very deep level. And I'm tasked with clearing properties at that level and recreating the ley lines for these structures to be safe and secure for people to live in. So there aren't weaknesses, and so there aren't interferences that are coming in to prevent them from doing the work that they need to do to be safe, and to feel safe, and to be happy. That's not easy. And like I said, if I would have been shown that ahead of time, there's no way. Because in the very beginning of my journey, when I was told, I believe that by teachers in my life, that I was taking classes and doing my healing work, and I was told, like, I believe that you would be good at this and you should take these, and I'm like, a lot of it was like shadow stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like conflict. I lead a very quiet life. I like to get along with people. That stuff to me was quote unquote scary. And they didn't ever pressure me. They would just smile and accept that at that point in time I couldn't see it. And so what I learned, though, along the way, I wasn't to be taught that way either, that person knew. But eventually I disconnected from a lot of those places, people, places, things, and I ended up really isolating, becoming that hermit. And then my team took over, and really to safeguard me and to make sure I was okay and I was taught properly, it was through my guides in the spirit realm. And then I just off I went, and it was just so much better. And I was just shocked and couldn't believe that I was doing what I was doing, and that it was successful, really. And now I don't do that work so much anymore, but from time to time I will come across something or someone that needs help in that way, and I know what to do. And I would imagine that will always kind of be available, and I believe God always guides that process for me. Like, so for example, like, I don't advertise, I don't have like a quote unquote business. I did pre-COVID try that, and very quickly COVID hit, and then I realized that I don't want that. So, I have training in a lot of different modalities, and until my light language came in, really, I just use my light language now, because really we are pulling from the divine source. We are pulling from divine source light, the universe, and you know, the best way is for you to channel it directly from God yourself. So, for example, the Reiki modality, that beautiful soul that channeled those codes and those symbols, created that healing process through those codes. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that for me, I thought, okay, like, and I practiced with that for a while. And again, there was a lot of success, but I was really encouraged to, that was like a stepping stone for me to really build, you know, within my own structure, and pull from that same place, but create my own light codes and language, and do it in a way that I would safeguard that process for myself and for the person that I would be guided to help. Because even though I was using it, I was always really worried, because I thought, like, what if I didn't quite do it the right way? And I didn't feel like that belonged to me, because it didn't. Obviously, he shared it with the world, and he still does, but I would have preferred to really just, you know, I think maybe if I was able to work with him one-to-one and really listen to him speak, it might have felt different for me. But it's been transferred from person to person to person to person, and how do we know that everyone is really channeling it the right way anymore, you know? And then the money piece of it too, I just never felt comfortable with the money part of it. And I just meant, like, for me to charge, like, even though I had started my own business with it, it never felt right. So then I stopped charging money. That didn't feel good either, because I was giving a service, and that was more healing for me that I had to do. And then eventually I just, COVID, like I said, COVID hit, and then I just obviously said, I'm not doing this, because it was in my home, and I have never gone back to doing it. I just help usually family and friends now, and now I'm doing this on YouTube. But certainly the only modality that I use is my own light language, and through, like, therapeutic touch and the Reiki practices that I've developed, I just feel like it all works together beautifully, and the light goes where it needs to go. And like I said, we are healing partners always. So it's I'm finally at a place where I feel comfortable with everything, and I'm just ready to share that now with my counterpart, because I really feel like they do need our support and our healing. And they would have gone out to, I think, access healing from other people. But I feel like, you know, they do need kind of a prescribed physical, like laying of the hands, like physical from their counterpart. And even if you're not consciously learning or pulling it in the way that I did it, I believe that twins naturally have these codes built in within their structure for healing, especially for each other. So through sacred sexuality as well, that in itself is healing in a very powerful way. But there's lots of other ways that twins bestow healing to each other. But in this case, for me, I'm seeing, like, the hand. So touch. That's all I mean is touch. So even if it's a hug, or if it's, I know for me, every time I see my counterpart, like the last time I saw him, I would have, you know, touched the side of his face and his ear. And I know that in that area, he would have required some light and some healing, specifically there to assist with whatever it was that he needed help with. And I'm hearing, like, a removal of a block. So, you know, he did find a lot of comfort in that touch at the time, and that was at Christmas. So that's a really nice message for me to receive. So thank you for sharing that. But let's get back to the reading here. So the Nine of Cups is really wishes fulfillment, and he really wants this brand new beginning here in love with this Ace of Cups. And you see how it's right underneath the desert rose there, that really represented their thoughts and their crown chakra and their brains, right? And this is really what they're focused on. And this is like reminds me of a pen. It's fluorite, and it was broken, so I fixed it. I put it back together, and he's trusting that the communication that will be had is going to assist with mending, what was once broken, and the communication's going to be protected, and it's going to flow so much better. And he wants to share like what his wishes are and what it is that he really wants. And I feel like the feminine will do the same thing. And not just like the twins. I feel like for a lot of us, like if there's children and if there's other really important people in our lives, everyone's really going to support each other and support the twins in coming back together. It's not something we're doing alone, and I'm not suggesting you go and talk about this with people, because usually I feel like it should be very private and quiet and keep it to yourself until you do have a chance to meet and connect with your twin and have those important conversations. And once you feel like it's safe and you're solid and you're really on the same page and you feel like the next stage now we're ready to kind of pull in everyone else, at that stage I feel like that's what I'm channeling, is like people will be very supportive and will be relieved. And for the ones that aren't, I feel like God is working with us to make sure that we remove them ahead of time, so they are not recreating problems like they would have before. Some of those people are still going to be around. They're just not going to be in our lives in the same way that they once were. Okay. See this? Yeah, that's what this is here. There's no more backstabbing. This is the divine feminine here. This is the divine. This is the masculine. We're like trusting our sources and our guidance 100%. And people know not to mess with us and know that when we come back together, we worked our tails off to get there, and they'll know to respect and honor it, not to speak ill of it, even behind our backs. That's a new message I'm getting. People misrepresented, misspoke, misinterpreted, and said some things that did cause problems, but not with ill intention. I think sometimes it is very confusing, and it doesn't, on the outside, like it may have looked a certain way, but it really wasn't that. So for example, my twin and I, like I said earlier, we always kept in contact, but we never crossed the line. Like when he was in a relationship, we never, like, we were friends. Like it wasn't, there was no, like, I don't know, there's just no crossing the line. Like we would talk here and there. We didn't spend time together alone. Sometimes, at that time I was still having visits with his kids because I was their stepmom for almost 2 years. So, when we separated, I always said like I would never just be gone from their life. Like I love them, I still do. So, I still wanted to see them, and obviously that created issues with these karmics. Eventually, it was just not it stopped because he couldn't manage that properly, and obviously I didn't want the kids, and we didn't want the kids to be impacted in a negative way. But the karmic and his past partner after me really struggled with that, like couldn't cope with it at all, and not good, but I feel like that's the energy that's been removed. But I'm just referring to some of the things that were said at that time. Like I wasn't doing that to manipulate or interfere with that relationship. I just really did want to be still that important person in those children's lives, and the children equally wanted that to be maintained. They were little. They were only like 4, and my twin at the time said like he would never remove me from their life, and would honor that, but couldn't manage it. And back to saying, like, remember I talked about the the difficulties in protecting these connections, right? And that's not even his ex-partner whom he had the children with. That's the ex that I'm referring to just now was the girlfriend that came after me. And I came after the mother of his children. So there are two karmics there at play and there, now I believe the ex-girlfriend's gone. And the mother's still involved and will always be involved. And that's another big area that he needed to really figure out, because very unhealthy, and he's made lots of progress, lots of gains, and I know he has, but more so in the last couple of days, I feel like there's been some follow-up conversations with her around what will be accepted, not accepted in his life, because oftentimes those exes, the children's mothers, often try to dictate and control, the masculine's life, and will say, well, this is the way it's going to be, and it's usually shared custody, for example, or if it's not, one will have full custody and the other parent has access. But oftentimes the ones that are problematic here are the ex-partners or the other parent, and they'll really try to control the other one's life and the children's lives. And in my case, in a very toxic way, to the point where I was just completely removed altogether. And so it's been very difficult, but I had to trust, and I had to just release and allow the divine to manage it and accept and let it be. What was going to be was going to be. And even though it wasn't just, it wasn't fair, it wasn't okay, it was extremely harmful, very, very, very unhealthy. Very sad. I've had to, step back and just really focus on myself, but always hold space for those children and for him still, and send him love and light and strength to be able to manage that in a healthier way, because, he needed to be able to manage his own life without her interference. And even in our relationship, that caused a lot of the issues as well. His inability to keep her out and to not have her pull him in all these different directions and basically create chaos where there wasn't any chaos. She lives a very chaotic life. We didn't. And only when we couldn't manage her in a healthier way is when I saw things starting to break down. And I'm not blaming her, because we on some level allowed it, because we are a part of that. I tried, but I think I was very much triggered, so I became very emotional about it and very upset, and sometimes I would get angry and I would become overwhelmed, and I would get upset with him because it wasn't being done the way that I thought it needed to be done. But it's not for me to say, it's for me to share my feelings, but ultimately I just feel like, looking back, I should have been able to support in a different way. So, these are some of the things that I would like to share when we do come back together and communicate and feel strong enough to put these topics back on the table, because it's been the elephant in the room for a very long time. So we would talk, like I said, we maintained contact, but we wouldn't talk about those things. We would talk about, how are things, and very superficial, or work, because we work in the same field. So what's going on over at your agency, this what's going on in my agency, as a whole, at a government level, for the province, this is what's coming, and oh my goodness, and so, or how would you handle this case, or that sort of thing, or how are your kids doing, or he'd share how his kids are doing, and if I had a difficult time, I would call and he would hear me out and give me advice, but at a friendship level, and I've always appreciated that. But that's what I'm saying. There was never a complete removal of my presence in his life or his presence in my life. Now, in saying that, I kept it very quiet and probably don't talk about it with anyone, and I don't think he does either, because people don't understand, and would have eventually jumped to conclusions for them to say, but naturally, like I said, people are just triggered by the light and the love, and that's just what happens. So that, I think, has become more clear for him, and for the Divine Feminine too, that this is a very important union. And you see, oh, look at that. You are my greatest love. And that's what he wants to communicate. And the hearts are healing here. Our hearts are healing. Look at the green. And that communication is going to be healthy because look how strong those leaves are. Those stems are so powerfully healthy and strong. My eyes are open. Yeah, see? The twins here. That twin. It's the selenite twins. The star. It's their wish. It's our wish for this union. And it's standing up now. We're going to stand up for each other. We're going to stand up for this union. For the whole world to see. Okay, we're coming back with a vengeance, is what I'm hearing. That sun is protecting us. It's powerful. There's not going to be a fight anymore. There's no more fighting. We don't want to fight anymore. But we will stand up for ourselves and do what's required. It says, I want only you, babe. That's lovely. In the divine flow, going in the right direction. Look at that. Strength and courage. Let's cut the deck here. So I'm just providing a clearing to the heart chakras here to allow this star energy, wishes fulfilled, to come through. He regrets not coming sooner, not providing gifts, bestowing gifts to the feminine that he knows she deserved instead of all these other people that he spent time with and shared energy with that he shouldn't have, you know. Let's see here. You are my light, you are the light. That was a card in a previous reading as well. Oh, my children, I don't want that to be. Just a sec here. There. Just want to safeguard their privacy. So that Hierophant, you see? There's not going to be a conflict. There's not going to be conflict. That Five of Wands is reversed. He's not allowing it to come in anymore to cause problems. And that Hierophant, he speaks for the union, for the divine, and it's going to be respected. Because the way that I channeled what I heard in his conversation with that karmic, I explained, because I know him and the tone, and he doesn't have that tone very often, but it's a tone where I'm in business now and you need to stop and stay away. And even though people wanted him to have a different Ace of Cups, emotionally, like wanted to pull him in all these different directions, he's not going to allow that to happen. He's going to follow what's in his heart. This is what he wants. There's no more being pulled in 5,000 million different ways. Oh my goodness, guys, look at this. So the Queen of Cups is really who's provided that strength and courage for him. He wants you to know that there's only one flower left in his life. You represent that flower, that person in his life, in his heart, and that who he's giving his flower to the next time he gives a flower, it's going to be to you, Divine Feminine. No one else. Don't worry, it's coming. This is to help people who might have lost faith or hope that their twin was coming. Your temples are secure that you've created. Archangel Michael is working spiritually to protect all the energy around that temple, that sanctuary, your home. We had to be safe spiritually within our temple, create our temples spiritually first in a safe way. Do you see how I'm balancing out the flow here? Okay. And now we're going to be able to match that and manifest it in the physical. Okay. There's no one that's messing with those ley lines. I talked about everything I mentioned in this recording is important. It's key. And I looked down, it was 49, 44. 44 is a mastery number. 4 is 4 of wands. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 is strength and courage and that infinity. We're in the flow. So the energy is flowing beautifully from one twin to the other, and that third energy is so powerful. It's allowing us to do the work that we need to do while remaining connected spiritually, like I said. But soon we're going to merge as one, as one, as one, as one. Just pulling in that energy. The feminine's nervous. It's okay. It's okay. Release the fear. Have trust and faith in your masculine that he now embodies this Hierophant. Look at standing up. That's no joke. It's very serious. Archangel Metatron's going to reset our structures here. Because there's a lot of fear and concern and worry here, but we're going to clear that out. Knight of Wands, gone. We're blasting that out right now. All right. It's very depleted. I feel like he would have wanted to really come forward tonight. Do you see how that fell? Because he's really stuck and worried in the ways that he would have had failed communication before. So let's send him love here. And get him to help him see that he can trust. Yeah, see? He's invested wisely, and that'll bring the sun, the hope, the joy, the fun back into his life and to this union in a way that's not deceptive anymore. Look at that. That's a thing of the past. There's no more of that. Blasting that out. My right ear's ringing, so this is where he's aiming. No more tricks. He doesn't want to be unauthentic, hide the truth. Like I said, those conversations that were superficial, he doesn't want to do that anymore. He's very frustrated about that. And this is what happens when you withhold what's in your heart. It's taken too long, and he's frustrated. So that's not good either, because we don't want them to come in a way that's, you know, a feeling of frustration like this or anxiety. So let's just send some love and light here. Release the ways that you feel like you would have failed, Divine Masculine. It's okay. There's no rush. There's no panic. We're here. We're stable. We're fine. They struggle too with the fact that we are okay. You know. Mother Mary's coming forward here. She's going to sweep the fields, especially in the back, with her rose, okay? She works with the rose ray. She has a beautiful legion as well. But right now, she's doing it because she knows that this is how old we are. She's just as old, okay? She really, really supports twin flames at a very deep level, and she doesn't entrust this to anyone. Like she's tasked with this is her job, this is her role, and she just loves it. So I'm just holding space here. There we go. We just needed to tweak a little bit of a concern or an issue within the thought process within the brain. It was at the back part of the brain, at the top of the spinal cord. I'm not a doctor, and I usually try to, the Bindu chakra too is the causal chakra that a lot of people don't know about the other chakras, but that's one that we've been working with for a couple of years now, and once it starts to open, you're going to have access to all sorts of things that you didn't have access to before from the realms. But it's to allow you to access parts of your Akashics, so you can travel back to, past life traumas, to do the work, to clear it out, to bring it into better focus and balance, because a lot of those situations repeated themselves in some way in this life, and you would have repeated the same cycle with the same outcome from those past lives. That's what we've stopped. We've interrupted that process and learned the lesson, fixed everything, feel better, do better, we're doing better. Now these karmics are just the ones that a few of them are struggling and are really having a hard time accepting the fact that we've embodied this new way of being now as a soul. And they have to now go off on their own and figure it out, and they've never done that before. They've never had to do it. A lot of this work, a lot of the success that we're seeing with these twins, specific ones that I'm channeling and working with, and I've embodied this energy for the first time in my soul's journey and evolution. I've never achieved this level of success before. So it's amazing, and you need to hang on, because we're there. We're almost there. Oh, I'm seeing my name here. Just going to clear that. All right. That Queen of Cups. It's amazing. So proud of you, Divine Feminine. Archangel Raphael wants to leave us with a message here. Oh my God, no word of a lie. This is what I pulled. The signs you are receiving are messages from your angels. Your loved ones want you to live the life you are destined for. You are what you think. Think positive thoughts. That's important, and we are doing that. So that's just a confirmation and affirmation that that you've succeeded this clearing out the negative thought patterns, and your mindfulness work, your gratitude work, however you were doing it, has allowed you to reach this level of success, healthy well-being. Congratulations. Keep up with your self-care, keep up with your divination practices, stay close to the divine, stay close to your loved ones, and they're coming. Look. He's so excited. I'm telling you. Doesn't want anyone but you, Divine Feminine. Okay? So much strength and power in that. And he's really sorry for pulling in other energies, because, you know, he knows it was hard. Even though there was no way to get around it, it needed to be manifested for the clearing to happen, for the karma to be cleared. It was the only way. And that's why you, Divine Feminine, knew that, and knew to step back, and knew to give them space. Now, that's not easy to do, and I think they think that we did that like and didn't care. No, we put up a good front because we had to. But we're going to have an opportunity, I believe, to share finally how it was, but in a very healthy way. And the divine would not allow this conversation to happen until the twins are ready, because it would cause more damage. And like I said, it's so important for the universe, for everything, because it's all perfectly and divinely orchestrated in time for a reason, because it's prescribed, and it's important for it to happen at the exact right time. And we're so close. We're so close. I can taste, I can feel it. It's coming. And for those of you who could be in that phase, in that stage right now, I continue to send you love and light and support. And I'm going to, bestow some light language all around these unions to make sure that we're okay, around our spheres, around our temples. Over top what our Archangel Michael's doing, and Mother Mary's within that work there, that what I'm tracing. And I'm really working and focusing on the left side of the structures, which is the divine feminine side. So they don't want me to go on the other side. I think Archangel Michael is going to be doing that. Yeshua is coming forward as well. He often works side by side with Mother Mary, oftentimes. Anytime there's like a risk or potential for shadowy, darker things that would come in the way, he surfaces immediately, because Mother Mary cannot and does not, she's not tasked with that. And so he is always safeguarding her and us. So yeah, he's just removing some cobwebs here and a couple areas, filling with light where there would otherwise be weaknesses and fractures. The outer part of the fields, though, so we are so strong from within. This is on the outer part of the fields. It's like cobwebs, it's like past lives, where we cleared the blocks, the karma, he's saying. You know, it's just to make sure that it's filled up nice and good, so there's nothing that can kind of travel on those timelines and try and come in. So he's also going to close all those old portals, because we're done with those lessons now. There we go. You'll see that my battery is needing to be charged here, so the light just dimmed a little bit, but we're done with the messages. I'm just closing up the reading here. All right, now I can do as a whole. So just follow that. The tiger's eyes also important. It'll keep our eyes safeguarded. Our physical eyes, our third eye. And Archangel Metatron's going to reset the grid here, and we're going to ground it back through that Earth Star chakra. Oh, there we go. He's clearing those ley lines and all potential interference, galactic even otherwise. Just blasting with light here. All right. Sending everyone so much love and light. Good luck and take care.